Right now, on to the point. The June primary less than a month away, and congressional races are heating up. Tonight, we meet the candidates running for District 3, cracking down on parents not paying their child support. The new threat from the U.S. government: pay up or surrender your passport. Governor Newsom pushing for the controversial Delta Tunnel project as critics argue the environmental consequences. Then in our Champions of Hope, we meet a woman giving animals a second chance, helping them find a loving and forever home.
Well, the heat wave is here. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. Big weather changes are coming. Just time for Mother's Day. Let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef. Brendan, I know that the heat is already here, but what should we really prepare for this weekend? I know that we're going to be in the 90s, right?
Yeah, in the first 90s that we've had in several months. Not since late September, early October have we been in the 90s. We're not there yet, but certainly, especially by Sunday, we're looking at 90 degrees. We could even see some mid to upper 90s early next week. Today, 83 Sacramento, 85 in Stockton, 85 in Modesto, 75 in Placerville, and 70s up in Truckee and Tahoe. These temperatures already above normal, but again, it is just going to get warmer as the week goes on and we go through the weekend. 81 degrees right now as we look towards downtown Sacramento. Clear skies and winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles per hour. If you're out and about this evening, some pretty nice temperatures, 70s, then falling through the 60s. We're not even in the 50s until we get past midnight tonight. So a cool morning ahead, another day in the 80s tomorrow, but Mother's Day weekend is going to be hot. We're going to be feeling it. Temperatures in the 90s. The warmest we have been this year is 88 degrees. We've been there 3 times. That's my forecast for Saturday. But again, it gets even warmer for Mother's Day and beyond. I've got a full look at the forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Tonight, Governor Gavin Newsom is reiterating his support for the controversial Delta Conveyance Project. He spoke during the Association of California Water Agencies conference about what has been done during his time in office. The Delta Conveyance Project would build a 45-mile tunnel under the Delta to reroute water. It's estimated to cost more than $20 billion. Newsom says this project is crucial to serve the state's water needs.
In this world of weather whiplash, we're as dumb as we want to be. The Delta, if we had had it last year alone, the Delta Conveyance, if we had it last year alone, would have provided enough water in terms of what we could have captured with an updated system, enough water for 9.8 million Californians need for over a year. Just last year, we could have captured that if we had the Delta Conveyance. We've got to get that done.
This project has been delayed by multiple lawsuits challenging the environmental impacts. The group Restore the Delta is opposed to the project, claiming it violates state law and threatens Delta communities and its ecosystems. During Newsom's time in office, he narrowed the Delta Tunnel project down to 1 tunnel. Governor Brown had proposed 2. During Wildfire Preparedness Week, Governor Newsom today also announced up to $70 million in grant funding for wildfire prevention projects. The grants supported by the legislature help local efforts to reduce wildfire risk, strengthen preparedness, and help protect lives, property, and critical infrastructure. Over the last 6 years, CAL FIRE has awarded more than $566 million in wildfire prevention grants to more than 575 projects across the state. Scientists took samples from the ground today outside a home connected to the man convicted of killing 19-year-old Kristin Smart back in 1996. The scientists specialize in soil and human decomposition. They were there after the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office served a warrant on the home of Susan Flores. Now, her son, Paul Flores, was convicted in 2022 of killing Smart, whose body was never found. Still ahead on To The Point, we are taking a closer look at the race for Congressional District 3 and a crowded field of candidates. We'll give you a breakdown coming up soon. And a little bit later in our Champions of Hope, we meet a woman on a mission to help shelter pets find a path and a forever home.
Well, I said things are going to be getting warmer. Mid to upper 90s Monday and Tuesday. That's more than 15 degrees above normal for the time of year. We'll talk about how long that heat lasts in the forecast coming up after the break.
But first, in other headlines tonight, President Trump's global 10% tariffs are illegal, according to a new court ruling. In a 2-1 decision, a federal court said the Trump administration misread the law used to justify sweeping tariffs. The ruling comes after Trump's tariff loss at the Supreme Court. The U.S. State Department will start revoking U.S. passports of thousands of parents who owe $100,000 or more of unpaid child support. This applies to about 2,700 American passport holders. The revocation program will soon expand to cover parents who owe more than $2,500 in unpaid child support. And 8 in 10 Americans say filling up their car with gas is putting a strain on their household budget. That's according to a new poll from NPR and PBS. As for who's to blame, 63% of Americans surveyed blame President Trump for the higher gas prices. Your voice, your vote. Streaming on ABC 10.
I'm looking for someone, a leader, who is going to keep those prices down.
While many are struggling to make ends meet,
I want to stay in California, and I need it to be fixed.
now there's a chance for a new direction.
I want to see their logic, how they're going to get to their goal.
I'd like to see integrity.
As voters cast their ballots,
What are you going to do about the cost of living, the cost of gasoline?
where the top candidates for governor stand on their promises for change.
Don't miss this ABC 10 election special Saturday at 10 p.m. only on ABC 10 and the ABC 10 streaming app. It was an absolutely beautiful day to get outside and enjoy the sunshine. Taking a look at our live tower cam there, you can see the beautiful bridge, nice clear skies. The spring showers are gone for now, but we are transitioning into warmer temperatures. We actually have a weather impact alert. I say warmer temperatures, but if you know Brendan, you know he likes to say the warm heat. So that's what we're getting into. I'm done harassing you about that after this, I promise.
You get overly descriptive one time and you say warm heat, and then your anchor will never let you live it down. Let that be a lesson, kids. 83 in Sacramento today, 85 in Stockton, 85 in Modesto, 77 Jackson and Auburn, 70 in Truckee, and 70 in Tahoe. Temperatures warmer than normal, 5 degrees warmer than normal in the valley, but Tahoe was running plus 11 this afternoon. And even warmer days are ahead. We're going into the 90s, and some upper 90s are on the way early next week. Again, near 100 degrees in parts of the valley. Some places could hit the triple digits, but I'm not expecting widespread 100-degree days next week. Here's the good news. We're going to be cooler after the heat. We're going to drop pretty quickly, actually. This is not going to be a long duration heat event, thankfully, but certainly we're going to have the hottest days that we have seen so far this year. The warmest we've been March 18th, 20th, and 29th. We hit 88 degrees. That tied the all-time hottest temperature in Sacramento for the month of March. But as we go into the weekend and early next week, we're easily going to go past 88 degrees. We'll go into the 90s for the first time since early October. Temperatures at the moment, 81 Sacramento, 83 in Stockton, 83 Modesto, 73 Placerville, 65 in Tahoe, and 70 in Truckee. Friday morning, cool in the upper 40s and low 50s, very seasonal. The normal low 51, I've got 52 in Sacramento, but 48 down in Stockton. Friday afternoon, another warm day in the 80s. 83 Sacramento, 83 Stockton, 87 Modesto, 80 in Sonora, 78 Jackson, 70 in Tahoe, and 73 in Truckee. One of the other things, this comes along with those warmer temperatures, we'll have some nice Delta breezes the next several days, especially Saturday evening, a strong Delta breeze that continues into the overnight and early Sunday morning. High pressure, though, is building, and that means temperatures are going to be climbing. But it moves out fairly quickly. By the end of next week, temperatures are back towards seasonal. So as we look at the foothills in the 80s this weekend, some mid to upper 80s early next week, mid to upper 70s near Tahoe early next week. In the valley, we're in those mid to upper 90s. Again, the warmest days we've seen since early October.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, we are looking at the top candidates running for the newly redrawn Congressional District 3 and where they stand on key issues. Welcome back in. The June primary is less than 4 weeks away. All congressional seats are up for grabs again, and tonight we are looking at Congressional District 3. There are 6 candidates in the race whose names that you will see on your ballot, and 4 of them have measurable campaign activity. those who have raised more than $100,000 according to FEC filings. Now, to help you get to know them a little bit better, I do want to bring in ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen. We have been knee-deep in this election coverage. Jeannie, what can you tell us about District 3?
Well, Alex, following the passage of Prop 50, the lines for Congressional District 3 changed drastically. Independent Congressman Kevin Kiley represents the district, but since announcing his campaign in District 6, this seat is now wide open.
Voters in California's newly redrawn 3rd Congressional District will be choosing someone new to represent them. Democratic Congressman Ami Bera, currently representing District 6, is hoping to convince voters he's now fit for the job in District 3.
What will you do to lower the cost of living here in California?
I talked to a lot of 30, 35-year-olds, young professionals that would like to get into housing. I'm working with Sacramento County and the cities in our region to take the vacant property that they have. The developers say they could build 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes if you made the land available. And then on top of that, grocery prices, food prices, let's get rid of the tariffs, all of that are impacting prices.
Real estate agent and Republican Kristin Bish is looking for a rematch against Bera when she ran against him in the last election for District 6. She believes tackling the homeowners insurance crisis will help with affordability.
The first thing we need to do is get insurance under control. So I've authored the Wildfire Act. And it is to change the way we handle insurance in California. It's to model wildfire insurance, is basically bypass California FAIR Plan and implement federal fire insurance.
Current Nevada County Supervisor and Democrat Heidi Hall believes providing affordable housing and tackling healthcare costs can ease the cost of living.
Working families are one medical crisis away from disaster, and that's why I'm going to sign on to Medicare for All on day one. Now, we can afford all of this by repealing the billionaire tax cut and investing in working families. That's how we bring down the cost of living.
One of the youngest people in the race, Democrat and Army veteran Chris Bennett, plans to tackle housing to make it affordable and accessible to everyone.
I support public housing. That means public housing development. It means public financing for low and middle income housing. It also means introducing a civil service loan, like a VA loan, where people who are doing something that's beneficial to society, like teachers, social workers, people building roads, nurses, doctors, can actually buy a house without a down payment.
SEIU California, one of the state's largest labor unions, endorsed both Bera and Bennett for this seat. During a time when the political tension is high, candidates say the focus should be the people.
How will you work across party lines to ensure you accomplish things for your district?
I think one thing that we really need to focus on is just like representing people. You know, regardless of whether you've been represented by a Democrat or a Republican in this district, they've been dodging in-person town halls. So I'm committing to always having in-person town halls at least once a year in each major region of the district.
You know, I've always been known as a problem solver, and one of the first bills and organizations that I started was the Problem Solvers Caucus. 23 Democrats, 17 Republicans. If we want to heal this country, if we want to start moving the country forward, it's going to take Democrats and Republicans working together.
Hall and Bish both say the issues this community endures should not be partisan.
We have found that when you put your community first, the real issues that need to be legislated, made policy for, projects that need to get done on the ground, we set aside our partisan politics, we can get a lot done. We've worked on homelessness, on affordable housing, on public health and public safety, on wildfire mitigation.
This is something that requires all of us to work together because it's not a partisan issue, affordability, making sure people that can afford housing, insurance, energy independence. There's so many things where I'm going to work across the aisle to make California and America affordable again.
What are the key issues you'll focus on if you are elected?
I will invest in affordable housing, universal daycare. We need to help kids with tuition, with trade schools. Definitely we need to be signing on to Medicare for All. I want to be codifying reproductive health rights and helping our rural hospitals and clinics.
I think we need to stop funding wars and genocide. I want to use our resources to help people here, not hurt them abroad. Besides that, we need to focus on humane immigration policy, where we're not putting people in cages, we're not separating families. We make it easier for people to live and work here legally with common sense pathways to citizenship.
Aside from affordability, Bish says education is a top priority.
The state of education in California has hit a crisis, a national security crisis, when we have on average students coming out of high school with 29% math proficiency 39% reading proficiency. We've got to change the way we're educating children.
Congressman Bera, who sits on the House Foreign Affairs and Intelligence Committee, says protecting Americans will be the main focus.
Donald Trump has really frayed a lot of our relationships around the world, so we've got to attend to that. I'm also on the Intelligence Committee, and we see some of the threats that AI is going to bring against our infrastructure, et cetera. We've got to work with our local utilities, water agencies, companies to help harden our assets to protect Americans here.
And according to the Federal Elections Commission, here's how much each candidate we spoke to raised. So far, Ami Bera has raised $888,115. Heidi Hall, $503,876. Christopher Bennett coming in at $154,956. And Christine Bish has raised $119,714. Other names of the candidates running in this race can also be found on our website at abc10.com. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Coming up after the break, our champion of hope takes us to the Bradshaw Animal Shelter, where a volunteer is on a mission to give some furry friends a loving home. At Bradshaw Animal Shelter, one woman is making life-saving difference for animals across Sacramento County. Through her work, she's helping connect vulnerable pets with second chances and also giving them a path out of the shelter and into loving homes.
She that good girls! She that good girls!
For Sarah Warren, helping animals isn't just a job.
Like a girl.
It's something that's always been a part of her life.
I started actually working at a doggy training facility probably about 14 years ago. I just loved being around the animals and caring for them. And now for the last 3 years, I've been the rescue coordinator.
Hi, kitties.
For the past decade at Bradshaw Animal Shelter, Sarah has taken on many roles. Today, she leads one of the most critical efforts, the rescue team.
Hi, kitty, kitty.
What our job is to basically find placement for animals. Either they have medical needs or behavior needs. So it's our job to find nonprofit charity animal rescue groups.
It's work that requires constant coordination, connecting with rescue partners, volunteers, and the community, all to give animals another chance.
They're instrumental in helping give these animals the chance they need to get out of the stressful shelter, to get a lot of the care they need.
For many animals, time inside the shelter can take a toll.
They come in and constant stress, noise, a lot of different things can affect dogs differently, and cats too. Sometimes they just decline or the shelter becomes overwhelming for them.
That's where another critical effort comes in, the shelter's Final Plea program.
It focuses on dogs that, just really need the medical care or they're just really struggling here. It's not fair to the animal to continue sitting here.
The program gives at-risk animals a final chance to be adopted or rescued. Sarah says the results speak for themselves.
And I think we've got like a 95 or 96 that leave the shelter, whether it's through adoption or rescue transfer.
Behind the scenes, colleagues say Sarah's work is nothing short of life-changing, not just for the animals, but the community.
Learning about the work that she does, it's evaluated and it's really thought out. The shelter has saved thousands and thousands of lives because of the work her and Taryn do.
You sit. Sit. Yes.
And while much of Sarah's work happens out of the spotlight, it's deeply felt by those around her.
The animals, thank you. And the work that you're doing is appreciated and admired. I just want you to know that it never goes unseen. And the fact that you've been able to save thousands and thousands and thousands of animals is something you should be so proud of.
For Sarah, the most rewarding part is simple: watching an animal walk out to a better life.
Sending the dog out the front door. I've done what I can for that animal, and it's what keeps me clocking in, is watching them go out the front door.
And if you are looking to support the shelter's work or even adopt, there is a big event coming up on May 16th from 11 to 3 p.m. Bradshaw Animal Shelter will be hosting the Roy C. Markham Animal Care Fair. The event is family and, of course, dog friendly and will include free adoptions. Organizers tell me that, look, this is a great way for the community to get involved and also make a difference. So if you are looking to adopt, I hope you'll consider. As always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. If you have something you think the team and I should be looking into, you can always reach out to us. I'll see you tomorrow.